Okay, back again. Ozonics Killerwinds podcast. I'm Cole Tanner.
I'm Nick Simon.
That's who we are. Okay, today we are talking Ozonics gear. We're doing a little gear showcase.
Yep.
We went through and picked out, how many things did we pick out? 1, 2, 3, 4. Four things that we're going to talk through.
Yep.
Interestingly, when you look at the 4 things that we're talking about, I think whether you're on the spectrum of you're the hardcore bow hunter, gun hunter, deer hunter that swears by Ozonics and really, really uses it, these 4 pieces of gear, it's real hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
It's either one end of the spectrum or the other. The one end of the spectrum is the guy that walks up and goes, oh yeah, man, I swear by that stuff. Like I've got all of it. And then the other end, the guy that's just as hardcore as this guy over here, hasn't ever even thought about that stuff.
Yeah.
Hear that a lot. Guy goes, oh man, yeah, I never thought about that. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're going to go through.
Yeah.
In no particular order. There's not one that's more important. We don't want to make any of the Ozonics gear feel bad, as if they had a personality. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just not even A, B, C, D. It's just bullet points. Okay, they're bullet points.
Yeah.
We're not putting a symbol behind them. We don't want to make anybody mad.
It's 1, 1, 1, and 1.
Yeah, 1, 1, 1, and 1. They're all number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. As if it can hear us. Okay, we're getting too far off here. Number 1, not number 1. Sorry. The first thing. Wait, that doesn't work either. The thing we're going to talk about now. Carry bag.
Yep.
Sound effects are on here. Carry bag. The biggest thing with the Ozonics carry bag that I have talked about ever since when I was a hunting guide in Colorado and Scott Elrod, the owner of Ozonics, came on that elk hunt. He had HR 230s at that time. No, it wasn't even HR 2. There was an HR 200.
Yeah.
And he had a older style carry bag, and he left those. Ever since then, what I like about the carry bag is, I tell people this all the time. The Ozonics isn't gonna. Most likely, it's not gonna break when it's in your stand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not where it gets dinged up.
Yeah.
Where it gets dinged up is in the backseat of your truck or in the back end of your truck. It gets dinged up when it's not being used for hunting.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the carry bag becomes such a valuable tool, is it just helps protect it.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we hear that from people all the time. They're like, man, I've made the investment in an Ozonics. Why don't I want to keep it safe? The other thing I will say about the carry bag that I really like is it's a great way to just have all your gear in one place.
Yeah.
If you're traveling and trying to do a hunt, you've got your unit, you've got your battery, you've got your mounting system, you got your charger. It'll all fit in the carry bag. We actually did a video years ago because we had a lot of people like, oh, how much gear can you carry? It fit in there. This was the original HR 300 carry bag from 2016.
Yeah.
If you really want to, you can fit a whole pile of stuff in there. I've got, in that video, I had HR 300, 3 XL batteries, the charger, the original mounting system. It's all in there.
Yeah.
You can really stuff it in if you want to. So that's really what I like about the carry bag. A great example of using the carry bag was last year. We're going to talk about this, I think, a lot during this episode. I think it just all really applied to that hunt. But
Yeah.
Idaho elk hunting.
Yep.
Just being able to, we're there early September, and Idaho, just in general, it's a dusty place.
Very.
And we're riding around on these 2-track roads, these logging roads in a side-by-side, and being able to put the HR 500 in the carry bag just to be able to keep it so it didn't get dusty. Not only just the surface of the unit, but the coil on the inside.
Yeah.
That's what really gets tricky, is you start to get dust and debris on that coil, produce less ozone.
Yeah.
So I really like the carry bag. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, it works out really well too. And I actually, in my camera bag was so full of stuff that throughout the fall, I ended up actually just strapping the carry bag to my camera bag.
Yep.
So it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different tether spots on it that you could put carabiners on it, connect to your pack. You could run it through, just like a strapping system on your backpack. But the one thing I will say, and I hear people do this every once in a while, and it's not really the whole idea behind it, is carry bag is great when you're in your vehicle. It's great when it's in the back of your truck. It's great on the way in and out. I'd rather you be running your Ozonics on the way in and out, but still some situations it doesn't work for that or whatever it might be. But you hear guys say, oh yeah, man, I carried in my carry bag, and then I get out there and I just unzip the top and turn the unit on and just hang the carry bag with my Ozonics inside of it. That's not really the right way to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Again, there's a nice handle. It's great to be able to put on a tree hook or whatever like that, but you want to make sure you get your Ozonics set up the right way.
Yep.
Running it inside your carry bag, one, that's not the right way to set it up. Two, you're really going to start to restrict the airflow when that unit's sitting down inside that bag and it's trying to pull in air. It can be real tricky on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So yeah, like I said, I really like the carry bag. And like I said, we actually have, this last year we had a new style carry bag. It's actually a little bit bigger than our original black carry bag. It's like actually the kind of the green of your sweatshirt. And it was actually just a skosh bigger than like the HR 300 black carry bag. Kind of all the same setup with pockets on the sides for batteries, pocket in the lid and everything like that. Just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Could hold a little bit bigger, more stuff. So that's kind of...
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else do we say about the carry bag? I like it. Like I said, I think it's something... again, you talk about like, how can you improve your hunt? Well, the best way you can improve your hunt is make sure you got your Ozonics running. And it's not going to do anything for you if it gets... like
destroyed.
Gets destroyed, gets real dusty, things like that. So trying to keep it clean, keep it safe. That's where I think the carry bag really comes in handy.
Definitely.
All right. Listen, not number 2, not the second thing we're talking about, just the next thing. In no particular order. Which one do you want to talk about next? I'm going to let you decide, because you know what we know what we're talking about. Let's do a little rapid fire here. What's the second one you want to talk about? Okay, I'll decide. So I think the next thing we talk about, we're not getting ahead of ourselves. We could kind of go in order from before the hunt, during the hunt, after the hunt. So another thing before the hunt starts that can really, really powerful, and you can use it after the hunt as well, is the dry wash bag. The thing that I always say about the dry wash bag is using the dry wash bag with your Ozonics is a passive form of scent control. A lot like using other forms of scent control besides ozone, the effectiveness falls off very quickly. When you use ozone on your clothing, ozone doesn't discriminate. It's going to oxidize whatever it comes in contact with. It's going to help eliminate odor on your clothing.
Yeah.
But the minute you pull your gear out of that dry wash bag, it's going to start gathering odor again.
Right.
So it is a passive form of scent control. But what I really, really like about the dry wash bag from my side of things is, we all use really expensive clothing now, right? Not even know if it's really expensive. It's just, and it's really, really good. You know what I mean? Whether it's Sitka, whether it's Kuyu, whether it's Code of Silence, whether it's Stone Glacier, you can go down the list. First Light, whatever it is. There's a ton of stuff out there that's just really, really high level gear.
Right.
I always call it high-end gear, but I also call it high maintenance gear. If you ever try to read the tag on that gear on how you're supposed to wash it, good luck.
Yeah.
You need a science degree just to figure that out. I mean, and maybe that's just me. All I know how to do is put the clothes in the washer and maybe put some laundry detergent in there and press start. I don't know what hot and cold and what it does, and does it shrink it, does it not? And if it's merino wool or if it's a poly blend or if it's a merino wool, I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. You just put it in there, you press start.
Yeah.
Well, that can ruin stuff, right? Yeah. The other thing about that too is the more you wash your gear, the faster it wears out.
Yep.
So what I found myself doing again when Ozonics first came out with the dry wash bag was in 2016. That was right when I started at Ozonics. That was my real first opportunity to use the dry wash bag. It's funny, years before that, when I was working in Colorado, I was traveling, videoing hunts. We were using Ozonics. We used to go to Walmart and just buy these plastic clothing closets that you can put all your gear. This is before Ozonics ever came out with a dry wash system. We're like, well, heck, this can eliminate odor. It could probably work on our clothes too.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really like about the dry wash bag is instead of having to wash my clothes, let's say I'm hunting 3 or 4 days in a week. Before, I was washing my clothes before or after every single hunt.
Yeah.
Now, I maybe wash them not even once a week. I might be every couple weeks, and I just dry wash them the rest of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the nice thing that I would say about the dry wash bag is you don't have to wash your clothes as often. You can use the dry wash bag.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry. It looked like you want to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say the other thing that is really nice about the dry wash bag is just the versatility of it and how mobile it can be. I mean, you can use it anywhere, really. You just find a tree limb. You can
Well, that goes right back to our Idaho trip.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
I mean, and you guys did that in Texas. You know what I mean? Like everywhere that I go, I mean, these last couple of years, I've just been doing a lot more hunting just right around here.
Yeah.
But I used to do a lot of hunting in Southeast Iowa. And I just go down there for the weekend. I go down there for the night. I drive there on a Friday night, hunt Saturday morning. I would just take the dry wash bag. It folds down super small. It's really
so
thin.
nice. Yeah.
Slips right underneath your seat. When you get there, I would just hang it on the side of my door on my truck. It fits perfect in a nice little hotel closet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
When we were in Idaho, literally, we just put it on a limb right behind the camper.
Yeah.
We would get back in the morning or get back late in the day and just dry wash your gear.
Yep.
Leave it in there overnight too. Great. It's
Yeah.
just a great place for all your gear to stay.
Yeah.
So it's pretty handy.
Yeah, and it's going back to that Idaho trip too. Is I mean, we had both me and your gear, and then our boots too. Like it fits a lot of stuff in there actually, like
yeah.
a good amount of stuff.
Yep, absolutely. The thing that I would say about the dry wash bag that, again, whether you're the guy that's really has everything Ozonics and you've already drank the Kool-Aid on this, or if you're the guy that's the hardcore guy with Ozonics, but you've kind of like, and you're just starting to think about the dry wash bag. The thing that I would say about that too is a lot like using it at a tree stand. It's all about setup and it's all about the fundamentals of what ozone does and doesn't do.
Yeah.
So we know it doesn't, we know it's all about surface area exposure. It has to come in contact with something, right? It has to come in contact with when that oxidation happens.
Yeah.
So it's all about surface area exposure. We also know ozone doesn't discriminate. It's going to oxidize in whatever it comes in contact with.
Yep.
We also know that ozone doesn't permeate clothing. You follow me?
Yep.
So with that said, what a lot of people end up doing is they stick their gear in their dry wash bag and they treat it, they put it on dry wash mode, runs for 10 minutes, shuts off, but they only treat one side of their clothing.
Yeah.
Well, that ozone, if you could imagine, it's sitting here right now and it comes in contact with my sweatshirt, it oxidizes. The next molecule comes right here and it doesn't know the other one was there. It oxidizes again.
Yeah.
It doesn't get past that surface. You follow me?
Right.
So the idea is try to turn your clothing inside out and treat the inside and the outside. What I actually do is I like to treat the inside first. That way, when I do the second time and I turn it right outside out, it's good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not having to turn it twice.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I always usually start inside out first and then right side out second.
Yeah.
I talked about this at the seminars this year, and I've talked about it before. A story that Scott told me years ago when he first started selling Ozonics. They were going to consumer shows, and back then, this is in 2008, 2009, 10. Nobody believed it.
Yeah.
Nobody had heard about it. Nobody believed it. I mean, everybody just thought they were snake oil salesmen. Like, this is just total bogus. And so Scott's like, man, I got to figure out a way to make this tangible. I got to figure out a way to get that light bulb for a guy to go on where he just goes, holy cow, that actually really works.
Yeah.
And what he came up with is he went to a grocery store. He bought a bag of onions, had a cutting board. And guys would walk up, he'd try to explain the Ozonics to him, and he would say, okay, here's the deal. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you. He would cut up the onion, and he'd say, here's the deal. I'm going to cut this onion up. I'm going to let you smell it. Then I'm going to exhaust ozone on the onion, this chopped up onion, and I'm going to blindfold you, and I'm going to put this onion underneath your nose. And if you can't smell it, you've got to really give me a fair shake at having you buy one of these things. Yeah. Guys like, all right, fine, whatever. Cut up the onion, let him smell it. Of course, you can smell a cut up onion, right? Like guys, your eyes are watering,
Yep.
He would take the Ozonics and he would exhaust the ozone on the onion for just like a minute. And he'd blindfold the guy and he put the onion underneath his nose 3 or 4 times and the guy wouldn't be able to smell a thing. But then the interesting thing is then he would take the blindfold off the guy and he would have the onion on the on the cutting board and he'd stir it back up. Well, all of a sudden, boom, you smell the onion again.
Yeah.
Why is that? Well, you're creating that new surface area. That ozone is oxidized on that outer surface, but when you move it, all of a sudden you create new surface area that ozone hasn't oxidized on. You smell it again.
Right.
Same thing happens on your clothing.
Yeah.
So when you're only treating that outer surface, you're really only doing half the job.
Right.
A lot of people, not as much lately, I feel like we've really tried to explain this and educate people. When I first started Ozonics, we started going to shows, everybody's like, well, why don't you guys have totes? Well, I need some sort of tote. I'm like, man, I understand where you're coming from on the totes, but does it really work?
Yeah.
You stack all your gear on the inside. You could take the bowl of onions and put it in the middle of the tote with your pants on bottom and your bibs on top. Run ozone in there for as long as you want. Guess what? You're still going to smell an onion when you open it up.
Yep.
The placebo effect is going to say, oh man, this must be working. I smell the ozone when I open the bag. Well, that's because it's only pulling in the top of it. It's not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the whole idea behind the dry wash bag is there's a baffle in the bag. It's pumping ozone down the back of the bag and it forces it back up through the bag. The circulation creates the surface area exposure that we're looking for.
Yep, exactly.
You follow me? Ozone is naturally heavier than the air, so it naturally wants to fall. We're kind of trying to make it do what it doesn't want to do. It doesn't want to go back up.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the air in, the air out.
Yep.
And so we're creating the airflow, creates the circulation, creates surface air exposure.
Yep.
And then the other thing that I would say that I really like about the dry wash bag is obviously it works in conjunction with all the Ozonics units. They all have a dry wash setting.
Yep.
So the whole idea behind that is it's the right amount of ozone for the right amount of time. I don't know if I had a guy walk up this year at the shows, but usually we have somebody that walks up, somebody that they definitely call.
Yeah.
And they are livid. First thing they always say is, I'll never use ozone again. And it's usually, I'll never use Ozonics again. Come to find out, they weren't even using Ozonics. They were using something else. And they just, they were pumping ozone indiscriminately in a tote, in whatever it was, for hours, you know what I mean? Or an hour, or a half hour, just too long.
Right.
Right. And the fact is again, we go back to the fundamentals of ozone. It doesn't discriminate. It is an oxidant. You know what I mean? Very powerful oxidant. We also know that ozone can be really hard on rubbers and elastics. Well, where are you going to find rubbers and elastics? Look at a pair of Sitka Fanatics bibs, right? There's elastic in the straps, right? Yep. They have some rubber here and there on zipper pulls or whatever it might be along the edges where it's like almost like a tape seam type deal. And you hear guys that say they reach down in that tote, they grab their bibs, and the straps come out of the bag and everything else stays in the bottom. It will eat away elastics. Yeah. That's the whole thing about the dry wash cycle. It's the right amount for the right amount of time. Runs for 10 minutes and shuts off. It's not even running it for 10 minutes actually the entire time. It's actually running ozone for a little bit at the beginning, then it turns the coil off and pumps fresh air, then turns the coil back on, and then pumps ozone, then turns the coil off, then pumps fresh air. So think about it like a dishwasher or like a laundry washing machine. Yeah. You put your clothes in there, you put laundry detergent, it fills it with water, stirs it up. That water gets dirty, it empties it out, it pumps fresh water in. Right. You know what I mean? Washes it, and then it dumps it, and then it rinses it with fresh water again. So that's the whole idea. Yeah. Again, just have to understand what ozone does and doesn't do. And like I said, whether a lot of times for me, I feel like in the colder months, the dry wash bag just becomes a before the hunt type deal. In the earlier months, and I would assume guys in the South too, you get hot, you get sweaty, you get sweaty on the way out, and so that's where dry washing your gear when you get home right away is a great time to be able to do it too. Yeah. Try not let those odors set into your gear. Just kind of really personal preference.
Right. Yeah. All right. What's the next thing you want to talk about?
I don't know. I want you to decide, but you just sat there dumbfounded last time.
Let's talk about the Smart Arm.
Well, now you're Mr. Johnny on the spot. I don't even have time to have a drink. All right, Smart Arm. So the Smart Arm is something that's been out for a couple years here. We've had it on the HR 500. We had it on the Orion X. Yeah. So, again, I think when we talk to people about the Smart Arm, they're like, oh, well, you don't like your original mounting system? I'm like, no, man, the original mounting system works great. You know what I mean? I've used that forever. Yeah. I like it. Works just fine. It's not like that one's not a good thing to use too. It comes standard with the HR 230. You know what I mean? It's come standard with the HR 300 for a long time. Yeah. But the one thing about it is it's really kind of, I guess the way I say it is it's really just two-dimensional in the fact of, you can adjust it horizontally with the arm, whether that's just swiveling it off the tree screw, and then you can move it a second way just off of the easy mount stud. Yeah. You follow me? So you're really only moving it kind of two ways, horizontally and then just adjusting the angle. Yeah. Which is really all you needed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the idea behind it. But the Smart Arm, the cool thing is pretty much moves in every way humanly possible.
definitely.
I don't feel like I've ever set the Smart Arm up the same way twice.
Oh,
It's really wild when you start using the Smart Arm, how much you're like, wow, that can really get into just about any little spot. I can move it any way that I really want to.
yeah. Well, that's what I like about it too, is you can move that unit any way and just like get it how you want, and no matter where that arm is, you tighten it up and it's pretty good. You know what I
Exactly,
mean? It's pretty
exactly.
sweet that you have that freedom.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so one of the things that I always tell people with the Smart Arm, and obviously the other big difference with it is with the original mounting system, you're having to hold the mounting system, jam it, screw it in the tree, all one.
Yeah.
But the Smart Arm, it's two separate pieces. So it's a T-handle tree screw, which is pretty cool. You can put it in your hand, it kind of sticks out, and you can literally almost like you're punching the tree and punch that screw in, especially in hardwoods in the Midwest. That just really becomes handy. Then you could screw it in, and then it's an easy mount receiver on the T-handle tree screw.
Yep.
Then the Smart Arm just snaps right down in, and it's easy mount studs on both ends.
Yeah, and I love that tree screw. I carried that a lot to hang stuff off of, actually.
Yeah.
Not even just my unit, but, I mean, you saw me when I would get into the tree this year. I would stick one in for my bag.
Yep.
You know, I would just kind of hang stuff all over with that tree screw, and it works really, really well. It has a really good bite, and it can hold a lot of weight.
Yep. Well, and the other thing I think, we hear from customers, users all the time about, hey, have you thought about doing this? Man, one thing I wish that mounting system did is I can't leave it out there. You hear some people that were unscrewing the female thumb screw off the top and taking the arm off of the original mounting system and just leaving their tree screw in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was a little bit tricky. Normally, you're probably bringing the whole mounting system out, or you're just buying multiple mounting systems to put them in different trees.
Yeah.
The great thing about the Smart Arm is you have the Smart Arm kit has the T&L tree screw and the Smart Arm, and you can just buy extra T-screws.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to leave T-screws in your trees, buy extra T-screws, leave one in every tree, and then you're good to go. Like on the permission pieces I have a lot of T-screws that are in. I just leave them there. And then I just know when I go out there, I just bring the arm and I just snap it right down on.
Remember that one in the middle stand?
Oh, yeah, that one. It's kind of funny. I really wondered, we've had that for a few years, and I was testing some prototypes of it, like way back a little before that. We were out there this last fall, and I kind of forgot about that. I had a T-handle in there.
Yeah.
And there's a kind of a branch like right above your head, and I could put it kind of vertically straight up into that and then hang the unit like right out in front of you.
Yeah.
It's pretty legit.
Yeah.
So I looked up there when we got up there. Well, I had a T-handle that had the rubber overmold, and the tree had grown so much that it had pushed that rubber overmold right up against the perpendicular of where it came together on the part that you hold it. It pushed it, it wedged it down, and I real carefully got it unscrewed. It would have been much longer, and I probably wouldn't have been able to get it unscrewed.
Yeah, probably not.
It was just grown right into it.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much those trees grow year to year.
Yeah, it is.
The other thing that I would say about the Smart Arm that I've kind of started to do is jam it in, screw it in the tree. Then what I usually do is I actually pull the Smart Arm out and I kind of set it in a position where so it's like, I don't have a Smart Arm here, but I'm holding it like this. The Smart Arm folds out like this. I put one easy mount stud up and one easy mount stud down. That's how I always start it. I kind of tighten it down. Then I snap that onto the overmold tree screw. Then I snap the unit on. And then what I do is I find myself putting one hand on the Ozonics unit and putting one hand on the thumb screw that loosens it.
Yeah.
And then I just find myself adjusting it how I want.
Yeah.
And then when I get into position, then I just tighten it up. Yep. So I just kind of move it all at once. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
That seems like kind of the sequence. Put your tree screw in, get your Smart Arm kind of how you want it, snap that down on, snap your Ozonics unit on, and then two-handed adjust it.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, when it comes to Ozonics, and this is where it really, really translates to your hunting, is with your Ozonics, it's all about setup.
Yeah.
You can have an Ozonics out in the field, and if you're not using it the right way, you are not going to maximize that opportunity that you have with that thing on that day. I always joke about if you go and buy a new bow and you try to shoot it upside down, good luck. You follow me? If you buy a Ferrari and you don't know how to shift the gears, like you can grind them and find them, but you're not going to go 0 to 60 in 2 point whatever.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yep.
It just doesn't work like that. It's all about setup. And I think that's where the smart arm becomes such a powerful tool in that is that it helps you make sure you set it up the right way, getting it above your head, that 6 to 12, 8 to 12 inches, getting it pointed in the downwind direction, and then getting that angle correct depending on your wind speed.
Yeah.
That height, direction, angle. I think the smart arm took a huge leap forward in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knew we could talk about one piece of gear so long?
I've used it as a bow hanger before.
Yes, you have.
Worked great, actually.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we weren't planning on talking about this, but just to put it in there, a lot of people don't realize that the smart arm mounting system also works in conjunction with the permanent mounts, the little plastic permanent mounts.
Yep.
Has an easy mount receiver, and also works in conjunction. The permanent mount works in conjunction with a cam buckle mount. Mm-hmm. The cam buckle mount has a permanent mount on it, or you can take a ratchet strap and your own ratchet strap and put it through the permanent mount.
Yeah.
And then you can, so you can kind of use it in multiple different ways.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of a cool little system.
Oh, yeah.
That's got more than just the tree screw and the smart arm.
Right. Yep.
To be able to do. What else you want to say about that? I think that kind of wraps that one up.
I would agree. Let's talk about
Putting the bow on that one.
Oh.
Okay, Micro 3. No particular order. I'll tell you what. Here's what it all boils down to in the Micro 3. And again, whether you're on either end of the spectrum, I feel like it's funny whenever I tell people, there's like, now that works out pretty good. Where the Micro 3 comes in handy for me is when I get to work and when I get home from work.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the Micro 3 is it runs for 10 minutes and automatically shuts off. Everybody has a cigarette plug-in in their vehicle that stays on when their vehicle's off. Mine's right on my dash.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is when I get to work, I just plug it in. And then when I get home from work, I just unplug it and replug it back in.
Yeah.
The nice thing about it is that it runs for 10 minutes, automatically shuts off, but it won't turn back on again until it's taken out and put back in. It has to be reset.
Yes.
You've just heard me say this too many times. I should make you do this whole thing and then let me heckle you.
No, because you would take the heckling to another level.
No, I wouldn't. I would heckle you in this voice the entire time. Come on, Nick. Tell me about the Micro 3. Tell me something. Come on, let's go. Let's hear it. That's what I thought.
Okay. I'm really surprised how well that can get your little bit of a tone inflection in there. That's really amazing. Okay. So that's the whole thing with the Micro 3 is I don't like air fresheners in my vehicle at all. Just for me, it's just ugh. But I also have 5 kids, and it's like if there's not a half melted popsicle stick or something stuck to the floor, you know what I mean? It's like all the time, like constantly. I mean, you see how 8 over 10 I am. Every time you get out of my truck and you're with me, guess what? You better be doing a little garbage pickup. Hey, grab the stuff out of the cup holder. Come on. Hey, grab that cup. I'm Mr. Let's keep it nice.
Yeah.
Little duster, dust off the dash, try to keep it a little undusty. But the fact of the matter is it just can get smelly. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about that Micro 3 is just to plug it in, let it go. Don't have to think about it again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Runs for 10 minutes. By the time you come back out your vehicle, you don't even know it ran.
Right.
You're not going to smell anything.
Yeah.
So that's where I really think it comes handy. The big thing I tell people too is it's not meant to be used when you're going down the road, right? Don't roll up the windows and hotbox yourself going 70 down the interstate.
Yeah.
It's meant to be used in that space when nobody's in there. So that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it. I think it works good.
Yeah, it works great.
I think that it gets accidentally plugged in or unplugged and replugged back in when the kids are like, oh, hey, what's that? And then they mess with it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've had the same one since before it came out. We had the production units. I started using one. Then I still have that one in my truck. It's been years.
Right.
Works out pretty good.
That's good.
So what do you like about the Micro 3? What's your favorite part about it?
I just like the ease of it. I mean, it's just super easy to, plug it in and go.
It's pretty foolproof.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really the thing with kind of all of our products, I think. But I mean, that one is just it's so simple.
Oh man.
And it works really good. And it's like if you're, traveling a lot or whatever, you're like Cole said, like your truck will get stinky and that odor will get onto you. So if there's a way to knock it out, that's a super easy and super way. The Micro 3 is a super easy and super good way to do it.
Yep, absolutely. I like it. All right, hey, listen, this is just the last one by pure chance.
Yeah.
In no particular order.
No order.
No favorites. We just so
This
happened.
is just how it laid out.
It's just the way it went. Okay,
Yep.
Don't get Kinetic Pack. We love you. Don't get mad.
So tell me about the Kinetic Pack.
So my experience with the Kinetic Pack again goes way back before I worked at Ozonics. When Scott came on that elk hunt, he had a version of the Kinetic Pack, just trying to really see if that would really work in the field, and use it on those elk hunts, And then Kinetic Pack has been on the market since 2016, same time as the HR 300 and the dry wash bag. That was when the Kinetic Pack came out.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I think that I'm sometimes at Ozonics, obviously we get really close to it, you know. But one thing that I think is interesting that I hear people saying that always surprises me when they really take a look at it when we're at the shows and things like that is like, man, that thing's got a lot of space.
Yeah.
It actually has a lot of room.
It's got a ton.
Yep. And it's got a lot of pretty well thought out ways to connect gear.
Yeah.
There's the straps on the very bottom of it to like, if you're trying to, walk in and it's real cold, you're trying to put bibs, you can strap them on the bottom with it. Or if you want to have a tripod or whatever that is, a coat, it's got enough that you can tether stuff kind of on the outside, strap it down on the outside, which is pretty handy too.
Yeah.
But again, what it all comes down to for me with the Kinetic Pack, and I say this all the time, and again, I think this for most guys, this is pre-Ozonics. A lot of people do everything they can to be scent free, quote unquote, when they're sitting in their truck.
Yeah.
And they're not as concerned about being scent free when they're actually in the field.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yep.
That's kind of pre-Ozonics. But even with Ozonics, I think what we hear so much is a lot of guys are using it in the stand. They're using it in the blind. They're using it in the field. But they're not using it on the way in and the way out.
Right.
I've told this story before, and I'm going to tell it again. So, sorry. But we were at an event with a bunch of guys, whole pile of people sitting in this room. And that was kind of the summer that I kind of had the realization. I'm like, man, there's a lot of guys just not understanding or using this on the way in and out. I mean, heck, before I worked at Ozonics, after I got back, and after Scott came on that elk hunt, when I guided and then when I got back to Iowa, I used to just carry my Ozonics on the way in and out.
Right.
I used to, when I was in Colorado, we used to just take like gear ties or baling wire and connect it to our packs. But when I was in that room full of people, I'd say, I'm going to just try to see how many people are really doing this. And I asked everybody, raise your hand if you use Ozonics. Well, almost everybody raised their hand. I'm like, great. Okay, keep your hands up. And then I asked who uses Ozonics in the tree stand. Keep your hands up. Well, everybody keeps their hands up. Great. Who uses it on the way in and out? Keep your hands up. Everybody puts their hands down except for just a couple dudes.
Yeah.
And the story that they told, it was a father and son, and the son was all excited. He's like, oh yeah, man. He's like, we had a buck that we knew he was there. We had him on camera. He'd been in this little patch of grass out in front of us. The only way we could get in there is kind of go in there on the wrong way. And he goes, we just carried our Ozonics. We just held them above our heads the whole way in.
Yep.
Climbed up in the stand, put them above our heads, and that deer walked right in. We killed it, And so that's the thing that, again, we talk about the Ozonics user, whether you're just starting out or you're the hardcore 10 years into it. Wisconsin was a perfect example. Two guys walked into the seminar and they said, really excited to hear and everything. And they said, yeah, we're been using Ozonics for a long time, but we're really excited to try to learn something.
Yeah.
All right. And we got to this Kinetic Pack part and those guys walked up afterwards and they're like, he's like, man, I've been using Ozonics a long time. And he goes, I never even thought about using it on the way in and out.
Right.
Never even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And it sounds so funny because you're using it in the stand. You swear by it when you're in the tree stand, but then you emit odor all the way in and all the way out.
Right.
You and I can really attest to this. We don't hunt 1,000 acres.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the public spots we hunt are big enough, but it really comes down to this small area that you really have to try to get into.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to get in there in a real tricky way. Mm-hmm. So if I can help eliminate my odor running the Ozonics in the Kinetic Pack and getting it, on my shoulders and getting it ozone up. And so it's getting exhausted and going wherever my odor is going. That's helping you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you hear me talk about that, hunting on any piece of property, it boils down to pressure.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact of the matter is that if you really looked at the 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 30 days a month, 365 days in a year, it's not really that much time that we spend in the field.
No.
But our odor stays there long after we're gone. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
And last time I checked, deer can't climb trees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they can walk on the ground. I mean, heck, look right now. Look in the spring months when we turkey hunt, we've got trail cams set out. We're out there. We check those cams. We set the cams. Even in the spring, you'll see deer that walk right in front of those cameras.
Yeah, exactly.
They knew we were there.
Oh yeah.
Do you follow me?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like, and again, I'm not running my kinetic pack all the time in the spring, and that's a perfect example of what happens. We're long gone, but our odor still stays behind.
Oh yeah.
And that's where that kinetic pack can become such a valuable tool. Running it from the minute you leave the truck to the minute you get back.
Yeah.
The whole time. I always talk about your odor like Ozonics is like a dam and your odor is the river. If you lift that dam and you let the water through, you're not putting it back. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
You're better off to keep that dam all the way down all the time.
Yeah.
You follow me? Whereas a lot of people are lifting the dam up, they're walking all the way in, and water's going all over the dang place, and they get in the tree stand and then they crank the dam back down,
Yeah.
stop it, and kick their Ozonics on. Ooh, now I feel way better.
Right.
You know, just figure out a way to run it all the time, and the kinetic pack is a great way to be able to do that and to be able to hold all your gear.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think it's a really great tool, especially for, hunting out west and stuff like that is a great place to use it.
Absolutely.
Funny story about the kinetic pack actually is when I was at Midwest Whitetail, one of the other interns actually used a kinetic pack for his camera bag for a good part of the year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it
Funny.
worked pretty well just because, you could get the camera arm on there really nice with like the bottom straps or whatever.
Yep, and it's actually the straps, and it's actually got a piece of material that kind of sits over it too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it kind of like cups it a lot better too. It's not just the straps.
Yeah. So he ran with that for a little while. And I remember seeing it too right away, and I'm like, what the heck bag is that?
Yeah.
Because when I got there, I hadn't really had too much experience with Ozonics, so I saw the bag and I'm like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's pretty cool. But
yeah, and like I said, talking about using it out west, we get a lot of guys that are going on elk hunts. They're going out west on a mule deer hunt, black bear hunt. We used it a ton when we were in Idaho last year, elk hunting with my buddy Randy.
Yeah.
And again, just trying to help eliminate our odor.
Yeah.
For when that opportunity presented itself, that we were trying to give ourselves every advantage we could.
Exactly.
So yeah, it works out pretty good.
Yeah.
So moral of the story is we talked about 5 different pieces of gear. We talked about the carry bag. We talked about the dry wash bag. We went through the smart arm, talked about the kinetic pack, talked about the micro 3. Again, I think this one we're really just focusing on accessories, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I think the idea is obviously it kind of goes without saying, run your Ozonics, you know what I mean? But I think there's other tools and other pieces of gear that you can add to this that can really, really help you as well.
Yeah.
And can bring benefits and advantages to your setup and help you when you're out there. And again, this is just some of the stuff that we think can really help you too.
Yeah, without a doubt.
All right, I say we wrap it up.
Yeah.
Hey, another podcast in the book. Thanks for watching Ozonics Killerwinds podcast. If I had a little slapper thing, I would go, done.
And scene.
And over. Ozonics gear, how it can help you. Thanks for watching.
See you next week.
Good luck out
See you
there.
next week.
Stay classy.